Let's graph this piecewise function and find the domain and range. So I like to graph these by color coding them. So I'll make this one red. Notice that this is a line. It's a linear equation, and they want us to start from negative infinity. Well, I like to think of it like this. I'm going to start at 1, but then I'm going to go left. So x is less than or equal to 1. When that is true, that's going to be my graph, which is a line. That line, by the way, goes through this point right here, over 1, up 3 over 1, or over 1 up 3. So it's that point, and so that's my line, something like that. But they only want us to graph this when x is less than or equal to 1. So I'm going to erase everything to the right of 1. So that graph is only starting, well, it's really, technically it's starting at negative infinity, and it's going only up to that point, 1 comma 3. You could have made a t-chart. Sometimes they make you do a t-chart for that, which is fine too, 1, 3. But you know how to graph this line, so just graph it. But then don't let the graph go beyond the x value of 1. Now for this other graph, I'm going to use green, and I'm going to start there. This one right here is just a graph that starts, it's kind of like an x squared graph. It's like this, but it's shifted up 1. The transformation is up 1. So it's really the graph that starts here, and it's going to go over 1. You could do this again if you wanted to. When I plug in 1, I'm going to get 2. It's going to go over 1, up 1. But that doesn't have an equals to sign, so it does not include 1. So I have to put an open circle where that would have been. And then it's going to, if I go 2, if I plug in 2, I'm going to get 5. If I plug in 3, I'm going to get 10. So it's going to go in a quadratic fashion. If I plug in, it goes right there, and then it goes like way up here. So you can't really tell, but it's a parabola. It's like part of a parabola. And now I've got to erase that dot right there because that's really not part of the graph. So what is the domain of this function? The domain, think of a horizontal or a vertical line scan. Is that going to touch the graph? Are these lines all going to touch the graph if I extend them all the way up and down? Yeah, is there going to be a value at negative 1 billion? Sure there is, because this line goes forever. How about way over here? Is there going to be, sure. How about in the middle here? In here, am I always going to touch a point?
Yes.
I am. Am I ever going to touch more than 1 point?
No.
I better not, because it wouldn't be a function. And I won't. Even right here, it won't touch more than 1 point, because it's only going to touch that red dot and not the green one. So the domain is all real numbers. And the range, likewise, let me change my color to yellow. Now I'm going to scan from the bottom horizontal lines. Is that going to touch it? Sure it is. Is that? Yep. That. Am I ever not going to touch it? No, I will always touch that graph. So the range is all real numbers as well. So the domain and range are all real numbers for this problem.